Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for taking the opportunity to join us today for our virtual signing event in support of the IAEA Raise for Hope event. For those of you that I haven't had the chance to meet, my name is James Sconiak, and I'm the chair of the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council. I also serve as Chief Operating Officer at Bruce Power. I'm really excited about today's event, and I thought I would kick off today's very important signing event and presentation with a bit of background first on the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council. As people know, Canada for over half a century has been a world leader in the production, the development, and the use of life-saving medical isotopes. I can tell you, as a Canadian, it's one of the real prides that I can tell you that I personally have, and I know many Canadians share that pride. And this has been a leadership role that Canada has played for many years across the entire value chain and isotope ecosystem. Back in 2018, the Canadian nuclear isotope sector got together and recognized that we as a country, but also as a world, we're at a very important crossroads in the area of medical isotopes. I always say that 40% of us in our lives will get cancer, but 100% of us will be impacted by cancer. And we all know that it's very common that we think of electricity to turn on our lights. Well, I very much look at medical isotopes as the form of energy that is needed to diagnose and treat cancer, but also the form of energy needed in many other medical applications, including sterilization. And this cross-functional group of individuals and organizations from the Canadian nuclear ecosystem decided that we needed to come together and form an aligned coalition across Canada. And that if we were going to work domestically and internationally to really realize the promise that this opportunity presents, that we needed to be united and we needed to come together. So the CNIC has well over 100 members represented across every province in Canada. We represent the production of isotopes from commercial reactors like the one here at Bruce Power, research reactors like the one at McMaster University in Hamilton, and cyclotrons all over Canada. We also have representation from across research institutions, across organizations that process and develop medical isotopes, including organizations that actually produce final radiopharmaceutical treatments, along with frontline healthcare institutions. So we're a very broad coalition. And very recently, the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council has also expanded to include a wide range of municipalities and regional organizations. And another area that I'm very excited about, and that is engagement and participation from Indigenous communities in this important space. So we're really proud of what the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council has achieved, both as Canadians, but also working with First Nations communities, recognizing that all of these facilities that produce life-saving medical isotopes, that process them as part of this value chain, that work is all going on First Nations traditional territory. And isotopes are one of many areas where we can work together towards greater economic reconciliation through what I like to call, which is reconciliation. So while we're really proud of the role that we're playing here in Canada, and we launched through the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council something called Isotopes for Hope, and it was a multi-year strategy to double Canada's production of medical isotopes by the year 2030 and to develop an integrated national strategy. But one of the things we also recognized was that Canada has a very important role to play around the world. You know, we can all go and point to multiple examples, not only in Canada, but in countries throughout the world, where patients and families have really benefited from advanced cancer diagnostics, advanced cancer treatments, and also modern healthcare systems that benefit from sterilization. And that's something we should all be proud of. But I think we also need to be mindful of the fact that there are a lot of countries in the world that do not have access to this technology that I'm referring to. I was very proud a number of months ago when Canada celebrated our 73rd anniversary of the first cobalt treatment at a hospital in London, Ontario. That year it was a real achievement for Canada. There was actually a stamp made in its honor. And that began a very long 7 to 8 decade run of medical isotope advancement in Canada. But I'm always humbled and reminded by the fact that there are literally hundreds and hundreds of millions of people all throughout the world today that do not have access to that cancer treatment that Canadians had access to 73 years ago in London, Ontario. And I think we would all agree that that is something that we should all commit ourselves to do, not only to ensure that people have equal access here in Canada, but have equal access around the world. I'm really pleased and honored that Dr. Liu, who's the Director General and the Head of Department of Technical Cooperation at the IAEA, is here to join us. The IAEA has an amazing program called Raise a Hope. And Raise a Hope is really a program, and I will let the Deputy Director General walk us through this initiative, but they have a global initiative that is really focused on dealing with that inequity, as I like to call it, throughout the world. And what I'm really proud about today is that through our engagement with the Director General and the organization at the IAEA, which I will also credit has been strongly aided by the ambassador, who you'll hear from later, and also I would say a strong familiarity that many people in Canada's nuclear industry have with the IAEA through the work of our independent quasi-judicial regulator in the case of the CNIC, who are not only engaged in the IAEA, but whether it's President Tremblay, Mr. Ramzi Jamal, Chief Regulatory Officer at the CNIC, or the entire leadership team at the CNIC, very active in the international community. So engaging with the IAEA is not something that is new to Canada. It's something that is very, very embedded in us, whether you're, as we like to say, a licensee in the nuclear industry. I'll let President Tremblay speak later from a regulatory perspective, but the IAEA is an organization that we are proud to be a part of. And through the discussion today, we look forward to expanding that partnership. So with that, I'd now like to pass it on to the Deputy Director General. Thank you very much for joining us today, and I will pass the floor over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dear Excellencies, dear esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon from Vienna. It's our great pleasure to be here today to participate, the signing ceremony for the practical arrangement between the IAEA and the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council. This, is a very, very important event since, our DG Grossi launched the initiative, Raise of Hope, from 2022. A lot of activity has been made and the progress has been made, in the past 3 years. For example, in African countries, we have some countries, that benefit from our support for the radiotherapy and the radiodiagnostic, like countries, in Benin, Botswana, Malawi, Niger, Kenya, and also some, the countries like Jordan and Moldova, and also benefit, all these countries are low and middle income countries, in the world. They really need support from the radiation medicine. And we also, provided equipment for the diagnostic. 19, the countries from Latin America receive our support for the imaging, equipment for the cancer diagnostic. So that's very good progress. And also, is warmly welcomed by more than 90 countries in the world to officially participate this initiative. So this is one of the, the very important initiative, and the IAEA pays special attention to promote successful implementation of this initiative. But this is only the beginning. We need to more partnership, to establish partnership. And we know, the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council is one of the world leader organization for the isotope production and also other related in the radiation medicine. So we need, the use your cooperate and establish partner with you and using your expertise in the nuclear medicine and the network to strengthen our cooperation and the benefit for the low and middle income countries. By working together, we can mobilize resources, but I think most important to establish new partnership and also establish our network together. This agreement is particularly temporary since Canadian prepare to assume the G7 presidency in 2025. So this is an opportunity to elevate engagement in Rays of Hope and give global priority to cancer treatment. We are grateful for the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council, your leadership, and especially to work with IAEA, to establish such close partnership together. And this is showing the industry and the government cooperation. I think, the IAEA as the international organization for the nuclear science and technology, we will strengthen our partnership and the resource mobilization and the cooperation with the organization like you. Through our cooperation, we reaffirm our shared commitment to transfer the vision of Rays of Hope into reality, improve cancer care of patients and the communities worldwide. And I take this opportunity to thank you again and welcome you, to visit Vienna at your convenient time. Thank you very much.
Great. Well, thank you very much for that. And what I think is most exciting about your remarks is really what it means for people in the world. I think all of us, as I mentioned earlier, have been impacted by cancer, whether it's ourselves, our loved ones, our family members, and our neighbors, in some way, shape, or form in our lives. And when somebody is impacted by that news, the only thing you want is to know that people are going to get the best care that they can under difficult circumstances. And to your point, we know there are hundreds of millions of people in the world that may not even be able to detect the fact they have cancer, let alone get the treatment. And at a time in our world where there is a lot of pressure to look inward, I think it is going to test our resolve, and we need to be committed to continue to look outward as much as we can, because it's the right thing to do. So we're absolutely honored to partner with you and your organization. And this is a virtual signing, so we don't get to do the pictures with the flags. But I think we are going to both hold up a copy of our signed document. I don't even know if the camera will pick it up, so I'll put it there. But it's signed by both the director general and myself. And as I always,
I will sign this document from our side again.
That's fantastic.
It's happening now, James.
It's happening now. So I signed it too quickly. See, I was so excited. I didn't wait until the proper signing. So thank you very much. That's really exciting.
Maybe we can take a picture of both holding it up.
Sure, happy to. Although the director general, I got to get a fancy CNIC folder like you have there. I very much prefer your folder.
You have to trust us. It's the right folder.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So before I pass it on to Lisa Stevens, who's the director of the program of action on cancer therapy at the IAEA, and by the way, Lisa's has just been fantastic, along with others you'll hear from shortly. What's most important is what we do with this agreement, and I think we are all excited, Deputy Director General, with the upcoming Rays of Hope conference later this year, and also the IAEA General Conference. And it not only will be an opportunity for us to celebrate in person the fact we signed this cooperation agreement, but we're really keen to make sure we, beyond the signing the agreement, we take some action that's gonna make a difference. And we believe there is a lot that we can do amongst the CNIC membership that can really provide in-kind and other support across the world. So we're quite excited. And with that, Lisa, maybe I'll pass it over to you. And I want to thank you and your team for your leadership and turning this into reality in a very short period of time from, I think, as the ambassador mentioned when we were in the green room or virtual room, a very high level conversation just a few months ago to this cooperation agreement, I think was really advanced in record time. So I'll pass it over to you, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Excellencies Chair, James, ladies and gentlemen. So it's really a pleasure to be here today for the signing of this agreement between our two organizations, IAEA and CNIC. And this is all under the framework of the Rays of Hope initiative, as has already been stated. Rays of Hope was only launched 3 years ago to help reduce the disparity in access to radiation medicine for cancer care in low and middle income countries. And I think we have to point out again, James, as you did, only 10% of patients in low income countries and maybe 50 to 60% in middle income countries have access to radiotherapy and radiation medicine, compared to 90% in high income countries. Under Rays of Hope and working with our partners, several countries have already begun to build, like Benin and Botswana, or are preparing to inaugurate radiotherapy centers like Malawi, while others, for example, Kenya, have expanded access under the Rays of Hope initiative. IAEA has provided equipment such as linear accelerators, SPECT CT machines, a cyclotron, brachytherapy equipment, quality assurance and control equipment, and X-rays to these and other countries, while also ensuring that these are operated safely and securely for medical purposes. In addition, fellows from Rays of Hope countries were undergoing training as medical physicists, nuclear medicine technologists, radiation oncologists, nuclear medicine physicians, radiation therapists, radiopharmacists, and oncology nurses. Also under Rays of Hope, as our DDG has mentioned, IAEA has procured 32 mammography units for breast cancer screening and diagnosis in Latin America and the Caribbean. And what this will enable is the screening of 250,000 women annually for breast cancer. We also know that there's a high demand from IAEA member states for support in the area of radiopharmaceutical production using cyclotron-produced radioisotopes, and I believe my colleague will talk more about this. But I just want to reflect, I was really struck during our ministerial conference back in November, during your side event, James, where I first met Zani, on the support and really outright enthusiasm that you noted for Rays of Hope, and also the alignment and the mention of the isotopes for hope. I think that this is a great example of how we can align our shared interests and to support patients in countries that really, as you've mentioned already, need access to quality, safe, and timely diagnosis and treatment. So with the formalization of this partnership agreement today, the IAEA gains another ally in support of the Rays of Hope initiative. It is going to strengthen our ability to secure additional financial and in-kind contributions through enhanced advocacy and communication with CNIC's expansive network across industry, the Canadian government, and the public sector, as well as regional institutions. So I also want to give a nod to the team that moved this through so quickly. Thank you, DDG, for your support. And really, we're excited about the prospects of this collaboration and the tangible impact that we can have in transforming our shared vision into reality. So thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. I think it's exceptionally well said. And with that, Tazenka Weldon, I'd like to now welcome you to say a few words. You serve as the Director of the Division of Physical and Chemical Sciences at the IAEA. And it was great to meet you at the recent side event late last year. I found your comments and passion for this just contagious. So thank you very much for joining us today, and I'll pass the floor over to you.
Thank you very much, James. Likewise, it was a great pleasure in November to meet you, also to meet Lisa and the rest of the what I call Canadian enthusiasts for the rays of hope, or as you called it, atoms for hope, isotopes for hope. I like this very much, and I still like this very much, and I think it's a great opportunity. Thank you very much, Lisa, for enabling this in terms of having this collaboration. Designing today is certainly, I can see the way forward, if I'm allowed to be slightly cheeky, to make the rays of hope shine even brighter. So in this direction, me coming from the nuclear application department and from the Division of Physical and Chemical Sciences, it is really exciting to be sitting here today and to be able to address everybody in the room and also present online and everybody in Canada. So we have worked with you in the past, and we have benefited in the Division of Physical and Chemical Sciences and the Department of Nuclear Applications. We had the pleasure throughout coordinated research projects and different technical meetings to interact and work together and learn from the innovative ways of Canada, specifically in production of radioactive isotopes for medical purposes. What springs to mind immediately, of course, is some interactions we had and some work which has been done in the area of lutetium-177 and also radium-225. Recycling this from waste is really a great initiative, which we've taken in the IAEA with your help, and we're working on this further. And of course, your CANDU reactors are something which, as a professional experimental nuclear physicist in my previous life, I really very dearly look into, and it's a pinnacle of human intellectual. What I would like to say is that the Canadian institutions, and specifically the institution of your Nuclear Isotope Council and scientists, have been associated and supporting our various activities of different IAEA programs. And we are looking like this to help our member states, to support our member states, especially as you mentioned, in areas of low income and developing countries. This event today will aid in strengthening this relationship. And I fully agree with you. It is really important what we'll do with this from now on. And I think that the isotopes, radioactive isotopes for medical purposes in imaging and therapy, and joining this in the Rays of Hope is a wonderful, wonderful event. And I'm really overjoyed. I hope you can see from the screen really my genuine joy for this event. And I'm very grateful to DDGTC and also to my colleagues in TC, to Lisa, for allowing me together, of course, with our sister division, Human Health in Nuclear Applications, to be part of this wonderful initiative. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the future.
Great, thank you very much, and I'll just share kind of just a pure coincidence, and you guys are going to have to pass this message on to the Director General, but after we launched the Isotopes for Hope campaign, it was in March of 2023, we realized literally the next day about the name of Rays for Hope. So I just want you to know that we were not shamelessly copying, but it really just showed just how there was such alignment, just even in the narrative that we had developed. So it's just great to see how the two initiatives fit together, and you know, we're very proud of our CANDU reactors here in Canada as well. And I would you know, always have an open invitation to come here to Canada and Ontario to visit our facilities, whether it's our facilities here at Bruce Power. Ontario Power Generation is a very active member in the CNIC. They were a founding member. They have the Darlington and Pickering facilities, and we also have our Point Lepreau station in New Brunswick. So I know all utilities always have an open door policy. And I say, if you want to come and visit Bruce Power, just don't visit it in January or February. Any other month of the year, I'd highly recommend it. So thank you very much. I now like to welcome Canada's ambassador to Austria, who also serves as Canada's permanent representative to international organizations in Vienna, Ambassador Lushnik. And I really do want to firstly recognize all the work the ambassador does on behalf of Canada in Vienna, but also on behalf of the world. And what I can tell you is he has been one of the greatest champions of connecting the CNIC with the IAEA. And so, Ambassador, I want to not only welcome you, but thank you for everything that you've done to help facilitate this important relationship that we're building together. And I'll pass the floor over to you.
Yeah, thanks very much, James. That's quite an introduction. But I'll have to say I'm so thrilled to be here to join in this signing, to witness it. We have a whole group of speakers and very senior people committed to a singular task of trying to make the world better, and that's super exciting. Really grateful to the DDG and the whole team at the IAEA for bringing this together and for your assiduous and diligent work in making a difference under Rays of Hope. I know in the presentations you've just heard, there were some staggering numbers of what is now going to enable screening of patients, and slowly but surely we are getting therapy out into the world. It was also staggering, James' numbers at the introduction, that we have hundreds of millions of people still not having access to the treatment that they require. And so what it says is we have a big task in front of us, but we have committed people, we have some funding that we hope to increase, and we have technology on our side. So I am confident with that constellation of forces, we will be able to make a real and substantive difference in the world in this area. Canada's been involved in this work in research, development, production of medical radioisotope for cancer therapy for many, many years. And I think having those ties between the agency and Canada will only seek to advance and amplify this, and that's what we need to do in fulfillment of our SDGs, particularly the increase of cancer treatment worldwide. We've been involved in this business for some time. First, we were at Chalk River producing it in our NRU reactor, and since then we've grown the network to have many cyclotrons, research reactors, and now as a game changer, the CANDU reactors. We produce cobalt-60, and that is very significant for treating brain cancer, sterilization of medical devices, and PPE, physical personal protective equipment. So that's very helpful. And also the sterile insect technique helping control the spread of diseases like Zika. So we're very much engaged and very much support the agency in this regard. Also very big on the Moly-99 production. And as was mentioned, lutetium-177, which is a very promising new drug to deal with a variety of cancers. Looking forward, I really think we need to step up our game, and this is exactly what the CNIC has been doing, and in collaboration with the IAEA. So I hope that this is a message to other countries, other member states around the world, and this is an example of how we together can work for the benefit of all. And I know that in all of my conversations, discussions, meetings with countries around the world, they are eager to get the treatment, to work on research and development and collaboration. And so this is a huge step forward in benefiting humanity for the future. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Ambassador. And we look forward to continuing as part of this partnership with your work internationally and in Vienna. The next individual I'd like to introduce is the President and CEO of the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. One of the things that I always say as a licensee in Canada's nuclear industry is, it's great, all the things that our industry does. I mean, we've talked about many of them, but the most important thing is we do them safely. None of these advancements matter unless we are operating safely into a high standard every single day. And we believe, at least I believe, that in Canada, one of the things that makes us stronger is an independent quasi-judicial regulator that focuses on safety, not only trying to drive compliance to international standards, but always driving us to do better in a very healthy, open, and transparent manner. So I really want to firstly recognize the important role that the CNSC plays in Canada and in our in the isotope sector, but also the role that the CNSC plays internationally. And with that, I'd like to welcome the president of the CNSC, Pierre Tremblay, to share some remarks with us. Over to you, Pierre.
All right, thank you so much, James, and Melody and Evan as well, and for the opportunity to speak. I'd like to congratulate the IAEA and the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council for their collaboration on this, and particularly, well, two things, really the vision that you have demonstrated and the reach that this is going to have, and for your leadership, which is very noticeable and critical to this. So at the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission, or the CNSC, our role is a life cycle nuclear regulator. And part of that is the oversight of nuclear substances used in medicine, radiation therapy, and research. It includes overseeing the nuclear facilities that we spoke of, the power plants where isotopes are produced, the laboratories, the hospitals, conducting research and clinical trials, and medical offices where patients receive life-saving treatments. The CNSC also regulates the transport and the import and export of all nuclear substances in Canada, and collaborates very closely, as been mentioned, with the IAEA member states in support of a safe global supply chain of nuclear medicine. We've talked about Canada's important role as a major supplier of medical isotopes worldwide and a significant contributor to cancer research and development. And that's been going on for many, many years. Our risk-informed regulatory framework, we believe, supports these efforts by ensuring that safety requirements are met without impeding innovation. That ensures that researchers, facilities, and producers in nuclear medicine in those fields can continue their important work without facing unproportional regulatory requirements. So, for example, small facilities conducting low-risk activities can break into the field with new innovative ideas without unnecessary barriers. And I'll just give you a few highlights. The Commission recently granted a license amendment to Bruce Power and OPG to produce medical isotopes used for purposes such as cancer treatment, diagnostic imaging, and sterilization of medical equipment. Triumph recently is currently licensed by the CNSC to produce an incredibly rare isotope called actinium-225, which is being used in international clinical trials to treat rare forms of cancer. And a patient in London, Ontario, recently became the first to undergo this treatment in Canada. Pretty major milestone. These multi-year projects are the culmination of efforts by organizations across the sector. I think international partnerships such as Rays of Hope are key to enhancing access to safe and reliable nuclear medicine for people all over the world. We've talked about low and middle income countries that can benefit from research, innovative technologies, infrastructure, and training from countries such as Canada. Imperative that we do that, all of which will contribute to an improved safety outcomes. So we have a long-standing tradition in nuclear safety in this country, and working together, we can contribute to a safer and a healthier world. I just want to reiterate my congratulations to the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council, James, and all the work that you do, and the IAEA for this important partnership. These efforts will make a tangible difference to the lives of so many. Thanks again. Appreciate the opportunity to say a few comments. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you very much, President Tremblay. And the next speaker I'd like to welcome is Pam Damoff. She serves as the Member of Parliament for Oakville, North Burlington since 2015. Man, Pam, 2015, that's a long time. Does time ever fly? But part of the reason for inviting Pam is, I'm a big believer that in government there are so many opportunities and issues that people who choose public service can focus their energy and their attention on. And what I can tell you is nuclear power broadly, but in particular medical isotopes, has been something that Pam has really championed. And just like I talked about the leadership we've seen at the IAEA or the ambassador on behalf of Canadians in Vienna and internationally, Pam has been that champion for medical isotopes within the government of Canada, but also across various provincial levels of government across Canada. You see here in the province of Ontario, really strong support in collaboration with the government of Canada by Premier Ford and Minister Lecce, working closely with Pam and her colleagues in Ottawa. So, Pam has not only been a champion, but she's been somebody that's also built a tremendous amount of unity on this file, which, as you can imagine, is more important than ever in the world that we live in. So, Pam, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for your leadership, and I'll pass the floor over to you.
James, thank you. Thank you so much. And I have to say a big thank you to you for your vision. It really is moving the needle on medical isotopes, and it wouldn't be happening without your leadership, James. So thank you. And thank you for inviting me to be with you here today. I'm joining you from Oakville, which is on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. And we often recognize the territory where we are, but I think it's also important to recognize the impact that Canada has had on Indigenous peoples in this country. And one of the things that I'm really proud of is advancing economic reconciliation with Bruce Power and the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation through the production of lutetium at Bruce Power. So, we really, James had mentioned that, and it's something that's so important moving forward. I'm also really proud of our government's investment of $35 million to create the Canadian medical isotope ecosystem. And that is encouraging the domestic production of medical isotopes and leading in the creation of new tools and treatment for our healthcare sector. As you know, Canada is a leader in medical isotope development, supply, and use. I'm very proud when I hear London, Ontario mentioned a few times here today. That's my hometown. But the global market for medical isotopes is going to reach $33 billion plus in US in the next decade. So while medical isotopes are rapidly becoming the standard of care for cancer patients in Canada and elsewhere, many countries still lack the infrastructure, personnel, and facilities needed to access to life-saving nuclear medicine, especially low and middle-income countries. I have a dear friend whose dad he's from Rwanda, and his dad is currently getting treatment for prostate cancer in Rwanda. And I think about the difference in care that his dad will receive versus in the province of Ontario, where Pluvicto, which is produced using lutetium-177, is now available for clinical trials. And just because of the happenstance of where he happens to live, his treatment is not the same kind of advanced treatments are not available as they would be if he was in the province of Ontario. Rays of Hope is so inspiring, and it's an initiative that already has much to be proud of from its efforts to improve access to cancer care and radiotherapy infrastructure, including securing more than $80 million US from more than 20 countries and delivering projects in over 30 countries around the globe. These projects have delivered essential radiotherapy and medical imaging machines, in addition to training for medical personnel to operate the equipment and provide diagnostics and treatments. And this will only grow. Over 80 additional countries have since come forward to request support from Rays of Hope from across Africa, the Asia Pacific, and South America. Obviously, I wish I was here announcing a funding contribution, but I'm not yet. But I will say that this signing is the first step in advancing Canada's contribution to Rays of Hope. And I'm really grateful to everyone involved for your contribution and for your willingness to step up and make this day possible. This truly is a historic signing, and I'm very happy to be here to share our government's commitment to medical isotopes and the industry in general. And thank you for including me here today.
Great. Thank you very much, Pam. Appreciate all your leadership and look forward to the work we'll continue to do on this important file going forward. I do want to take this opportunity to also just thank the hundreds of people who are joining us for today's virtual signing. I also know we have some members of the media who have also joined, and just a reminder that our press release will be distributed shortly after the remarks conclude today. So with that, that draws to a conclusion today's signing event. I want to thank everybody for their contributions to today's session, and we're looking forward to many years of collaboration, not only throughout the CNIC here in Canada, but at the international level. And most importantly, coming together to do what we as Canadians always try to do, which is contribute where we can and make a difference, because that's really what it's all about. And with the opportunity and the resources and the capability that we've come to really take for granted in many ways here in Canada, we have the opportunity to contribute on a global level, and we're looking forward to being a part of Race for Hope, not only as a country, but as a Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council, and to continue to advance the important work as part of our Isotopes for Hope campaign. So thank you very much for joining us today. That will conclude today's session, and I wish everybody a safe and productive rest of your day. Take care.